Have you ever found yourself surrounded by people who seem supportive and caring, only to discover their true intentions were far from benevolent? Identifying genuine relationships can be as challenging as distinguishing an oasis from a mirage in the vast desert of human interaction. In a world where meetings often lead to mismatches, and where masks of cordiality and self-interest are deftly worn, discerning true care from mere pretense is an art requiring keen intuition. Sometimes we may overly trust in others' goodwill, only to realize we're being exploited, much like a skilled gardener distinguishes between nurturing plants and those that deplete soil nutrients. Learning to recognize true allies in our lives and identifying emotional parasites is crucial. Surround yourself exclusively with individuals who inspire you, whose presence brings out your best. Now, we'll discuss subtle signs and less apparent patterns that unveil underlying intentions behind superficial smiles and hollow promises. If you're here for personal development, this content delves into the wisdom of deciphering these human puzzles, illuminating a path towards more genuine and fulfilling relationships. If you are enjoying this video and want to support this channel, I invite you to leave a like, subscribe to the Waves of Wisdom channel, and share this beautiful story with your friends. And if you want to share your thoughts with us, you can leave a comment below and tell us your experience. And now, to our video. Number 1. Persistent lack of respect. This just goes beyond occasional lapses in judgment or slips of the tongue. It is a consistent thread woven into the fabric of the relationship, manifesting in various forms such as belittling comments, dismissive attitudes, or blatant disregard for your feelings and boundaries. This behavior creates a hostile environment where attempts at conversation or connection are fraught with contempt and disregard. Imagine a garden where respect is the nourishment needed for relationships to flourish. In its absence, the landscape becomes barren, unable to support healthy growth. Every interaction becomes laden with thorns of disrespect and dominance. The person displaying this lack of respect uses it as a tool, consciously or unconsciously, to assert control and maintain superiority. This consistent disrespect erodes the foundation of the relationship. Instead of resolving disagreements with empathy and understanding, they escalate into battlefields with no regard for emotional well-being. The normal ebb and flow of relationship dynamics are disrupted, making it challenging, if not impossible, to restore a sense of normalcy and mutual respect. Recognizing and understanding this pattern of persistent disrespect is crucial. It requires looking beyond isolated incidents to discern the broader behavior pattern. Respect is not solely about grand gestures. It's also present in daily interactions, small acknowledgments, and how conflicts are handled. In conclusion, a persistent lack of respect in a relationship indicates that the other person views you not as an equal partner, but as a means to an end. This disregard for your feelings and dignity reveals an unbalanced and unhealthy relationship dynamic. Identifying this trait is essential for maintaining self-respect and cultivating relationships grounded in mutual respect and equality. Number 2. Failure to fulfill promises. The act of making and breaking promises can be likened to a theatrical performance where words play the role of actors and actions are the script left unattended. These individuals excel in verbal persuasion, painting vivid images of commitment and support. However, their words often lack the substance of action needed to fulfill expectations. When the time comes to turn these promises into reality, they falter, revealing the emptiness behind their assurances. In such relationships, a clear pattern emerges. When support is most needed, they often disappear, leaving disappointment and disillusionment in their wake. This absence in critical moments isn't just a breach of trust, it's a revealing indicator of their true motives. Their promises become tools for manipulation, extracting value, trust, or support without genuine intent to reciprocate. Failure to fulfill promises thus becomes a crucial behavior to observe, offering insight into individuals who may exploit others. It speaks volumes about their true character and intentions, teaching us to navigate human relationships with greater discernment and protect our trust and emotional investments. Number 3. Making you feel guilty. This is akin to a scenario where guilt acts as a puppeteer's string, manipulating the conscience of the benevolent, guiding them down paths they might not willingly choose. The person using you adeptly pulls these strings, tapping into your sense of responsibility, empathy, or fairness. They may frame their requests in ways that refusal would portray you as uncaring or selfish. Alternatively, they might subtly remind you of past favors or incidents, insinuating an unspoken debt that you are now obligated to repay. This tactic of inducing guilt is insidious and gradual, starting with minor favors or concessions and escalating to more significant demands over time. As a result, your boundaries erode and your ability to refuse diminishes, leaving you ensnared in a cycle of guilt and compliance. Their needs take precedence while yours are sidelined or entirely disregarded. The effectiveness of this manipulation lies in exploiting the innate human desire to be seen as good, helpful, and caring. By making you feel guilty, the user distorts these virtues into tools of control. You may find yourself fulfilling their requests not out of genuine desire or mutual respect, but out of a sense of imposed obligation, often feeling resentful or emotionally drained. Recognizing when someone manipulates guilt is essential for safeguarding your personal boundaries and emotional well-being. It requires awareness of the emotional dynamics at play, discerning between genuine requests for help and exploitative demands. Moreover, it entails having the courage to question their motivations and assert your right to say no without succumbing to guilt. Identifying and addressing this manipulative tactic is crucial for nurturing healthier relationships founded on mutual respect, genuine care, and free choice rather than obligation and guilt. Number 4. Diminishing or disdainful comments. These comments full of negativity are a weapon wielded by individuals adept at using others for personal gain. These remarks, often disguised as humor or casual banter, are actually barbed hooks designed to erode self-esteem, confidence, and self-worth in their targets. They may trivialize your achievements, scoff at your dreams, or show indifference to your challenges. This psychological warfare aims to systematically devalue your aspirations, creating an unequal relationship where self-doubt and diminished self-esteem prevail. By diminishing your worth, these individuals assert dominance and control, exploiting your vulnerability for their benefit. Such remarks often stem from their own insecurities and feelings of inadequacy. Through belittling others, they attempt to mask their own vulnerabilities and project a false sense of superiority. Recognizing this pattern is crucial for understanding the toxic dynamics at play. It unveils the superficial charm these individuals use to manipulate others and highlights the need to set clear boundaries or distance oneself from such toxic relationships. Addressing these behaviors directly can safeguard your self-worth and pave the way for healthier, more supportive connections. Number 5. Superficial closeness. This is basically promising depth and substance, yet upon closer inspection, it reveals a lack thereof. In such interactions, individuals may mimic the behaviors of close friends or committed partners. They engage in frequent communication, share laughter, and participate in what seems like intimate conversations. However, this appearance of closeness never evolves into genuine depth. This lack of genuine commitment manifests in several ways. They readily enjoy the benefits of the relationship, but distance themselves when effort or sacrifice is required on their part. In times of need, their support is flimsy or absent. They celebrate joys, but vanish during struggles or vulnerability. Moreover, this superficial closeness often lacks the essential elements of trust and reliability that characterize authentic relationships. Plans are made but casually broken. Promises are given but seldom kept, and their participation in the relationship is often conditional and guided by convenience or self-interest. The underlying motive behind this behavior is typically to maintain a network of contacts that can be called upon when needed, without investing in the emotional labor true relationships demand. It's a strategy of keeping people close enough for utility, but not close enough to demand reciprocal commitment, a form of emotional hedging. Recognizing superficial closeness is crucial for understanding the dynamics at play in a relationship. It requires observing patterns of interaction and questioning whether perceived intimacy is matched by actions of genuine commitment and shared vulnerability. It's about discerning whether the relationship is balanced in terms of emotional investment or skewed towards fulfilling their needs. This type of relationship is characterized by a facade of intimacy without the foundation of genuine commitment and mutual growth. Identifying this pattern empowers individuals to seek and nurture relationships rooted in authenticity, reciprocity, and true emotional depth. Number 6. Constantly seeking benefit for themselves and no one else. Unilateral benefit can permeate different aspects of a relationship, whether it's financial, emotional, or practical. Financially, the user may frequently borrow money or resources with promises of repayment or reciprocation that never materialize. Emotionally, they might rely heavily on the other for support, validation, and attention, yet offer little in return. When roles are reversed practically, they may consistently seek favors, assistance, or time, yet conveniently be unavailable when their counterpart needs help. This one-sided dynamic resembles a parasitic relationship where one party benefits while the other bears the burden. Similar to a parasite drawing nourishment, the user extracts emotional, financial, or practical support without adequately contributing to the well-being of their counterpart. Over time, this lack of reciprocity can deplete the giver's emotional, financial, or time resources, leaving them drained and unfulfilled. Motivations behind unilateral benefit often stem from deep-seated self-centeredness and a lack of empathy. The user views relationships transactionally, focusing on what they can gain rather than what they can give. This approach overlooks the intrinsic value of mutual respect, support, and reciprocity in healthy relationships. Identifying this pattern requires discernment. It involves recognizing the persistent imbalance and assessing whether interactions leave you feeling valued and respected, or used and undervalued. Honest reflection is essential to determine if the relationship is genuinely fulfilling, or if adjustments are needed to restore balance and mutual benefit. Number 7. Constant competition. This behavior can be likened to a strategic game of chess, where every move is calculated not just to advance one's position, but also to undermine the opponent. Similarly, someone who seeks to use you often treats your relationship as a battleground for asserting superiority. Imagine each of your achievements, decisions, or challenges becoming an opportunity for them to overshadow you, whether in professional settings, by trying to outshine you in meetings, or claiming credit for your ideas, or in personal relationships by downplaying your experiences to appear more significant. Their actions are consistently driven by a need to stay ahead. This competitive behavior stems from deep-seated insecurity and a distorted perception of self-worth. They measure their value not by their own merit, but by being perceived as superior to others. This mindset turns every interaction into a zero-sum game, where their victory necessitates your defeat. Engaging with someone who constantly competes can be emotionally draining, fostering an atmosphere of perpetual tension rather than collaboration. Your successes are not celebrated, but viewed as threats to their dominance, and your struggles are seen as opportunities for them to gain an advantage. Recognizing and understanding this pattern is crucial for setting boundaries and reshaping the relationship towards a healthier dynamic. It involves prioritizing mutual respect and support over a relentless pursuit of superiority, ensuring that your interactions are constructive and mutually beneficial. Number 8. Disregard for your needs or feelings. This attitude reflects a pattern where one's emotional landscape is consistently overlooked or devalued. It's akin to tending a garden where only one flower is allowed to bloom, neglecting others. In these interactions, the user prioritizes their own needs and desires while sidelining or dismissing yours. Their actions and words act like shears, trimming away at your emotional well-being, leaving you feeling undervalued and unseen in the relationship. This disregard can take various forms. They may routinely ignore your emotional needs, failing to offer support or understanding when you're vulnerable. They might show indifference to your opinions and choices, overshadowing your voice with their dominant narrative. Furthermore, they may neglect to acknowledge your achievements or even belittle your struggles, trivializing issues that weigh heavily on you. Such behavior isn't just insensitive, it's deliberate neglect used to maintain control. By invalidating your feelings and needs, the user creates an environment where your self-worth is undermined, making you more susceptible to their influence and manipulation. This form of emotional manipulation, though subtle, has significant impact, particularly because it attacks your emotional core, your need to be heard, understood, and valued. This dynamic can be deeply damaging, leading to a decline in self-esteem and a sense of isolation, even within an active relationship. To navigate such challenges, it's crucial to recognize signs of emotional neglect. This awareness serves as a guiding light, steering you away from relationships where your emotional well-being is at risk. It empowers you to seek connections built on reciprocity, respect, and mutual care, where your needs and feelings are valued and respected. Number 9. Absence in critical moments. Absence in critical moments mirrors a tree that provides shade only when the sun is gentle, disappearing when storm clouds gather. In good times, they bask in shared light and benefits of the relationship. However, when challenges arise and support is most needed, they fade away. These individuals view relationships as convenient, where their involvement hinges on personal benefit. Their support is superficial, offered when it aligns with their interests or yields something in return. During personal crises, setbacks, or emotional turmoil, their absence becomes evident, revealing their true priorities and lack of commitment. This behavior can profoundly impact those let down, fostering feelings of betrayal and disillusionment. It erodes trust and reliability once thought foundational to the relationship, prompting a reassessment of their role and value in one's life. Recognizing this pattern is crucial for understanding the relationship's nature and the other person's intentions. It underscores the importance of consistent support in both joyful and challenging times as a cornerstone of meaningful relationships. Realizing someone's absence during critical moments serves as a litmus test, distinguishing genuine investment in your well-being from relationships driven solely by self-interest. Number 10. Lack of reciprocity. One side bears the weight of efforts, sacrifices, and commitments, while the other side remains featherlight, devoid of equivalent contributions. This imbalance typifies a relationship lacking reciprocity. In such relationships, you often find yourself investing significant time, energy, and emotions to nurture and sustain the bond. Conversely, the other person's contributions are minimal, tokenistic, or altogether absent. This disparity in effort can manifest in several ways. You may consistently initiate communication and make plans, receiving lukewarm or non-committal responses in return. You might offer continuous support and understanding without receiving the same level of empathy or assistance when needed. Even in sharing personal experiences and vulnerabilities, you may find yourself being open and forthcoming, while they remain guarded or disinterested. The root of this lack of reciprocity lies in a self-centric approach to relationships. For the other person, the relationship serves as a convenience or resource to tap into as needed, without a genuine intention for meaningful exchange. Their involvement is calculated and contingent on personal benefits, disregarding your needs and feelings. This approach contradicts healthy relationships, which thrive on mutual give and take, shared experiences, and a balanced investment of emotional labor. Recognizing the lack of reciprocity requires mindful observation of the relationship dynamics. It involves questioning whether efforts to sustain and grow the connection are mutually shared or disproportionately shouldered by you. It calls for an honest assessment of whether the relationship feels enriching or draining, equal or skewed. Number 11. Gossip and breach of trust. On one edge, gossiping about others creates a false sense of camaraderie and trust. It may seem like they are confiding in you, drawing you into an exclusive circle of trust. However, the other edge of this sword is more sinister. It involves the betrayal of your trust. The intimate or sensitive information you shared in confidence becomes fodder for their gossip with others. This betrayal goes beyond just a breach of trust. It strategically undermines your sense of security and privacy within the relationship. It demonstrates a calculated disregard for the sanctity of personal information and a blatant disrespect for confidentiality boundaries. The user leverages gossip as a tool for social maneuvering, positioning themselves as a nexus of information. By disseminating and distorting information, they seek to manipulate perceptions, forge alliances, or sow discord, all for their own benefit. This behavior reflects a utilitarian approach to relationships, viewing people as tools to achieve personal ends and confidential information as a currency to be traded. The consequences for the victim are profound. It fosters an environment of mistrust and insecurity, undermining the foundation of what could have been a supportive and trustworthy relationship. Socially and emotionally, the misuse of personal information can damage reputations and self-esteem. Recognizing this pattern of behavior is crucial for safeguarding oneself against such relational predators. It requires vigilance in observing how they speak of others in their absence and caution in sharing personal information with them. Paying attention to their respect for confidentiality and their propensity for gossip provides valuable insights into their character and intentions. Addressing this pattern is essential to maintaining personal dignity and ensuring that personal boundaries are respected in all relationships. Number 12. Emotional manipulation. This often begins subtly, with the manipulator initially presenting themselves as caring and attentive. However, this facade quickly transforms into a tool for inducing feelings of anxiety, inadequacy, or guilt in their target. They become skilled at pushing emotional buttons, praising to elevate you when it serves their purpose, then sharply criticizing or undermining you to foster self-doubt and dependency. Imagine the analogy of a gardener and a delicate plant. A caring gardener nurtures, providing just the right amount of water and sunlight. In contrast, the emotional manipulator, akin to a negligent gardener, alternates between overwatering and neglect, causing the plant to wither. They use emotional extremes to destabilize, creating an environment where the target becomes emotionally dependent, constantly seeking the manipulator's approval and validation to regain a sense of warmth. This manipulation often targets the core of one's emotional well-being. They may diminish your accomplishments or exaggerate your failures to maintain a perpetual state of self-doubt. They might manipulate situations to make you feel guilty for normal actions, shifting blame to ensure you are always the one apologizing. In relationships where emotional manipulation is at play, the balance of power is skewed. The manipulator dictates when affection is given or withdrawn, keeping their target off balance. This dynamic isn't about mutual growth or support. It's about fulfilling the manipulator's needs at the expense of the other's emotional health. Identifying emotional manipulation requires acute awareness of these dynamics. It involves recognizing consistent patterns where one's feelings are manipulated and requires introspection to understand how these interactions impact one's sense of self and emotional well-being. Number 13. Lack of genuine support. Lack of genuine support can be likened to a tree standing alone in a barren landscape, devoid of the nurturing ecosystem found in a thriving forest. In relationships where genuine support is absent, your goals, projects, and challenges are met with indifference or token gestures. Imagine standing alone, your branches reaching out for camaraderie that never arrives. This is akin to being with someone who shows little interest in your well-being. They may offer verbal assurances or minimal encouragement, but their actions, or lack thereof, speak louder. When you need tangible assistance, meaningful advice, or a listening ear during tough times, they are conspicuously absent, or their help is superficial. The root of this lack of genuine support often lies in their self-interest. They view relationships transactionally, assessing emotional investment based on personal gain. This mindset creates an imbalance where you consistently give effort, care, or resources while receiving little in return. This imbalance can leave you feeling undervalued and unseen. Recognizing this lack of genuine support is essential for understanding the nature of your relationship with such individuals. It requires an honest assessment of reciprocity in your interactions. Addressing this lack of support is crucial to ensure your time and energy are invested in relationships that are nurturing, reciprocal, and genuinely supportive. Number 14. Selective availability. This behavior paints a picture of a one-sided relationship, akin to a phone line where only one party is always on call. In this dynamic, you are consistently ready to lend an ear, extend a hand, or offer support. Your calendar, emotions, and resources are open books, readily accessible to them. Contrastingly, the other person's availability is as rare as a comet in the night sky, occasional, unpredictable, and always on their terms. This disparity in availability goes beyond busy schedules or conflicting priorities. It is a deliberate choice, a strategic stance adopted by the user. Their intentional unavailability serves two purposes. It maintains a convenient distance for them and positions them in control of the relationship dynamics. By limiting their availability, they create a scenario where you often find yourself wanting more, feeling grateful for any time or attention they deem fit to offer. Attempts to connect or engage are frequently met with excuses, delays, or outright neglect. Texts may go unanswered, calls unreturned, and your needs often go unacknowledged. When they do engage, it typically aligns with their needs or agenda, transforming the relationship into a one-way street where your role becomes that of convenience rather than a valued partner. The emotional toll of this pattern is profound, fostering feelings of inadequacy as you question the value of your contributions and worth in their eyes. It breeds frustration and resentment, stemming from the realization that your efforts and availability are not reciprocated. Recognizing the pattern of selective availability is crucial. It requires stepping back and objectively assessing the balance of effort and availability in the relationship. It necessitates understanding that healthy relationships thrive on mutual respect, effort, and presence from both parties. Number 15. Lack of personal interest. This attitude transforms conversations into a one-way street, bustling with the traffic of their thoughts, experiences, and emotions. In a healthy relationship, dialogue flows both ways, alive with mutual interest and care. However, with someone who only wants to use you, this dynamic shifts drastically. Conversations become monologues disguised as dialogues, where they eagerly delve into the details of their daily lives, challenges and triumphs, expecting your attention and empathy. Yet, when the conversation turns to you, their interest wanes. They may respond with perfunctory nods, abruptly change the subject, or show visible signs of disinterest or impatience. Your problems and experiences, no matter how significant, barely register on their radar of concern. This behavior isn't just a lapse in social etiquette or a deficiency in conversational skills. It's a deliberate signal of their priorities and intentions. By monopolizing conversations and disregarding your stories, they establish a dynamic where their needs, opinions, and life take precedence. This subtle form of egocentrism reduces your role to that of an audience or sounding board, orbiting around their axis. Such interactions can be deeply disheartening, fostering feelings of insignificance and frustration as your fundamental need for recognition and understanding goes unmet. Over time, this imbalance can erode the relationship's foundation, leaving you feeling more like an accessory to their life than an equal partner. Recognizing this lack of personal interest is vital. It requires awareness of the dynamics at play in your interactions and an acknowledgement of the emotional toll these one-sided conversations exact on you. It prompts an evaluation of whether the relationship is mutually enriching or draining. Identifying this disparity sets the stage for seeking relationships where your stories and experiences are valued and respected as much as theirs, fostering a more reciprocal and fulfilling connection.